Then join me, Clark Howard, every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA, The Source.
We are The Source, WOCA.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Robin, 5 days from now, January 26th is your mother's birthday.
Yep. Happy birthday, Mom.
It's also the birthday of Lou, the hippo.
Yes,
the
it is.
hippopotamus at Homosassa Springs turns 56 years old on January 26th.
Yeah, my mom's 39, but they do share the same day.
It's also the date that our next author's book will be released. It's called Coconut Cowboy. It will be released in 5 days, January 26th, and the author, Tim Dorsey, is on the phone. It sounds like he's got some pretty cool news. It sounds like I don't know if he lives in Florida or not, but there's a lot of Florida references in the prep material that they sent us.
Yeah.
There's a series being produced for TV, I think it's for TV, called Florida Roadkill, based on his books. This sounds awesome. Let's find out about it from Tim Dorsey. Good morning, Tim.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Where are you?
And actually, I'm in Tampa. I've lived in Florida my whole life. I grew up in the West Palm Beach area, and now I'm over here.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for being on the air with us.
Oh, well, great. I was kind of surprised that they put out the news. They've had the series. This is the 19th book, so they've had different people have had the series option for a while. But the executive producers called me one day and said this TV studio at this agency called them and said we want to make a TV show. So they're moving forward.
And did the Florida Roadkill is the name of your first novel? Is that right?
Yeah, that's the name of the first novel, so that's going to be the title of the series. But they're going to use various books in the series as well.
Wow. Or do you have any creative input, or could they take license and maybe get you upset?
Oh, they won't get me upset, but they can take license. But from the feedback I've gotten, they've become versed in the books. And the main thing is you just got to get Florida. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to have some familiarity with it, and apparently that drew them to the material because apparently they have some good knowledge of Florida.
I appreciate what you're saying. And so many times people don't get Florida when they make a movie about Florida. I mean, it's either the beach or Disney or something in between. And I mean, not just a documentary, but any film about Florida usually kind of misses what we're about, don't they?
And what drives me nuts is because I love to watch Florida films, and they'll film it in California and call it Florida.
Yeah, but that's, you know what, whose fault that is? That's our government's fault, our state government. Right?
Well, yeah, there's been some. I'm not that well versed, but I've kind of heard the rumblings that we could be a little more film friendly here.
Yeah, well, Robin was with the Film Commission for how many years?
Oh, 13 years.
13 years. Yeah, so she knows some of the behind the scenes stuff, that the stuff that chased away filmmakers and TV makers. But your show is being made here, right? They are staying here?
I don't know about that, but I would assume so. Apparently the pilot is going to be based in Tampa, or at least in part in Tampa. So I would assume they're going to do some filming here.
Okay, so I want to get to know you. I want to get to know so let's start with the book that's coming out, and then we'll kind of backtrack from there. So the newest one, Coconut Cowboy, comes out in 5 days on the hippopotamus's birthday, by the way.
Yes.
Right.
And by the way, since Florida's accuracy is important to you, the hippo is the only animal in Homosassa Springs that is not native. Obviously, there's no native hippopotamuses, but it was a leftover from back when it was a tourist attraction and they didn't care.
No, they kept.
Yes, there was actually a guy that had a film troupe of animals that he would rent out to Hollywood or whatever, and he had them wintering down here. And that's Lou was in like Doc Tari. And
is that right?
Things.
Oh wow! Knew more about Lou than I did.
When the publicist talks about your inner Easy Rider, is this going to be a road trip with a motorcycle guy?
Yes, my main character, he's obsessed with Florida lore and everything, as well as being a criminal. He's an anti-hero, but he's a lovable criminal. and he and so he starts out because he's just irrepressibly enthusiastic about all things Florida, and he's watching Easy Rider, and of course their goal was to get to Florida. That was the end of the rainbow for them. But if you know the climax of the movie, it ended in Louisiana, and he was like really upset. Like, what? The best part? And so he says, I waited for the DVD to come out and like check the bonus material to see if there was an alternate ending, but no luck. And so he says, he decides with his sidekick, who's going to play the part of Dennis Hopper, that they're going to do their own alternate ending in real life. And so they start up in Louisiana with motorcycles, and of course he's always spouting this arcane history, which I actually find amazing, which in the early 1800s there was a separate country within the United States called the Republic of Florida. And and to this day, there is in Louisiana, in that part of Florida, because the Panhandle went all the way over, there's a Republic of Florida highway in memory of that.
Is that right? And
Yes,
I never knew if this was tongue in cheek or for real. But remember the Conch Republic down in Keys? Did you ever hear about that one?
Oh yeah, the Conch Republic, absolutely.
Yeah, but that wasn't real, right? That was just somebody made that up, or what was that?
What happened was the federal government blockaded US 1 outside the Last Chance Saloon as you're about to leave the mainland to go to Key West, and they were looking for drugs and illegal immigrants, and it was really hurting tourism. And so what they did, and it was a good PR stunt, because it was really bottlenecking. I mean, if you drive down to the Keys on a busy weekend, it's already a bottleneck, and this was a disaster. And they said and it was the Border Patrol, and they said there's no other place in the United States where there's a Border Patrol checkpoint to get to an actual part of the United States. So this isn't fair. So we're going to declare our independence from the United States, and then we're going to declare war on the United States and surrender and apply for foreign aid. And it made the national news, and they had all these parties and then parades, and got drunk in the streets celebrating this. And
it is a fun part of our state, isn't it? So I'm looking at the list of places you're going to be signing books. I don't see Ocala on here. You're skipping over us, huh?
No. Actually, I was just recently there at the library.
Oh, were you?
And so I will be coming back, but I was there so shortly, ago. But yeah, I received a wonderful reception, and I will be coming back. It's just not up on the schedule. It's once I do all that stuff, I'll be setting up more stuff a little later. But
2 reasons to let us know when you're coming back. One, so we can promote the fact that you're coming back, and number 2, if you would come into the studio, that would be awesome to have you on the air again.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Since you are a comedic writer, and then screenplays are different than books sometimes, how does it feel to have some of the writers from MTV?
Yeah, they did. A couple of the writers that the Shannara Chronicles just started on MTV, and of course my daughter watches, and it's a pretty magnificent. It's an epic production. I mean, it's the sets and the sci-fi and everything. It's amazing, and that was filmed by Sonar Entertainment, who are the people who are doing my series, and they hired a couple of writers that worked on the set. They recently teamed up with them for that series, and so they brought them on board to write the pilot and the first episodes of this thing. So yeah, it's I tuned in when that series debuted, and I'm like, holy cow, this is their last project.
So this is
huge.
This is an exciting time for you. We're coming up on a break, and I want to make sure we're fair to the book, because so far we've learned a little bit about you, a little bit about Florida, but not a whole lot about the book or the series. You're getting an award on the same day the book comes out, right?
Yes, and that's a coincidence. I mean, all this is all lining up at the same time. It was a total coincidence of the date of it, but this is one. I mean, I'm usually pretty loquacious, but I'm kind of humbled. It's the John D. McDonald Award for Excellence in Florida Fiction, and since '92 they've given it out 6 times, but like Elmore Leonard got the first one, and Stuart Kaminsky and James Hall,
wow.
names like that.
Wow.
And then Carl Hyacin won the McDonald Environmental Award in there as well. So it's a pretty rarefied air. You know, these people are
Very good.
Yeah,
Well,
I was following that. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just congratulating you. I think that's awesome. It must be very exciting for you. Let's take a break, and when we come back, I want to be sure that we're fair to the book. Coconut Cowboy is the new book coming out. Plus, you might, if you're not familiar with the series yet, this perhaps will get you started. You might want to go back and read book 1, Florida Roadkill. It's all part of the same series, right?
19 books.
Yes.
19 books.
Yep.
Tim Dorsey, when we come back, we'll continue. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For Thursday, partly sunny to high 69 to 73. Increasing clouds Thursday night with lows in the 50s to near 60. Friday, rather cloudy and breezy. Look for a couple of showers and a heavier thunderstorm, especially during the afternoon and evening hours. Thunderstorms can produce damaging wind gusts, even an isolated tornado. The high tomorrow between 70 and 74. Windy and much colder on Saturday. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
The very best in quality is Captain T's Upholstery.
Hey, this is Dan. Let me ask you a few questions. Does your boat look better with the cover on? Has your car's interior seen its better days? Stop using a towel to cover up those rips in the golf cart. Isn't it about time you had it restored to better than new with a custom upholstery from Captain T? Captain T's Upholstery has been right here in Ocala for nearly 20 years, so they know how to make your ride one of a kind. Whether you want to take that classic ride back to a factory look or put your favorite sports team front and center, Captain T's Upholstery is who to call. 352-369-1810. That's 352-369-1810. Or stop by their location, 5030 South Pine Avenue in Ocala, just past the drive-in. And of course, don't forget to visit them on the web, CaptainTUpholstery.com.
The very best in quality is Captain T's Upholstery.
Hi, this is Brad. I want to take a moment to talk about a serious issue. In the next 5 years, the aviation industry is projected to have a shortage of commercial pilots. Now is the time to start training. Ocala Flying Club has started a scholarship for the youth of Marion County ages 17 to 24. The club will donate up to $4,000 towards a pilot's license. This will help get the student on their way to obtaining their commercial pilot license. If this sounds like something you would be interested in, or if you know someone that would be, please contact Ocala Aviation Services, 861-7484.
All right, 12 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. On the phone is Tim Dorsey down in Tampa. He's a New York Times bestselling author. His 19th novel is Coconut Cowboy. It comes out in 5 days, and he'll be on a book signing tour, and he's winning the John D. McDonald Award for Excellence in Florida Fiction. Wow, there's got a lot of good stuff happening. Plus, the series is going to be called, his first novel, Florida Roadkill, will be the name of the series that is being produced for TV. What channel is that going to be on? Do we know yet?
I don't know. I don't know which network, but Sonar basically they film it, they make it, and then they place it.
Okay, so the protagonist, I guess, I don't know if that's a proper name for the a serial killer, but his name is Serge Storms, right?
Yeah, he's an anti-hero. You root for him because he only takes out, the jerks and people who are just the brash, obnoxious people out there that are ruining our state. But,
and so the first novel was based on that. I mean, you had this idea that there were people here ruining our state, and what were they doing? What were the bad guys doing? The bad guys.
It all depends. I mean, if he sees, like he's an old school criminal where you don't. If you're gonna, commit a crime, you don't prey on the weak. You don't mug old people. And if you see somebody mug an old person, well, they're not long for this world.
I love his ethics. I just think that's spectacular.
I know it's warped. He does his own crimes. He'll steal from the rich and stuff like that. And he gets mad because he goes, well, Robin Hood ruined it for everybody. Like, I'm supposed to give this stuff back,
That's funny. Okay, so you've had this character the entire 19 books.
Yes, and he's encyclopedic about Florida, which is another thing. He's always ranting about little-known facts, which is sort of my alter ego, which is why, I was telling you about Lou, and you just, I guess you got a press release or something about the birthday, but, like Lou, this is the surge in me, okay? Like Lou, his best friend was a donkey named Susie that he'd follow around Homosassa. I don't know if, and, with all the best intentions, wildlife people were going to remove him because he wasn't indigenous, and there's local outcries. I think the governor proclaimed him an honorary Florida citizen.
Yeah. Well, actually, it wasn't a news release. Robin and I like to go to the state parks, and got an annual pass for the state parks, so we go to as many as we can, and it's relatively close to us. And we went over one time, and I guess it was the hippo's birthday.
Yes.
And I said, hey, same as your mom.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Same as your mom. So, yeah, that's how I know it. But otherwise, I wouldn't have remembered the birthday of a hippopotamus.
The personalities of the characters are very contagious. You have done a wonderful cross-section.
So it's just a coincidence you mentioned Lou, because there's a couple chapters about Lou in this book, Coconut Cowboy.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Serge, the character, because he loves Florida, and he's got to go down to Homosassa Springs, and check out the area and the Winslow Homer room, and then he leads his friends down because he's got to introduce them to Lou, and it's a coincidence when I heard the intro.
Well, and I only made it part of the intro because that's the date that your book is coming out, the 26th. That's what that's what triggered it for me. Isn't that funny?
Everything's happening on the 26th.
In your world, yeah, it's a good day for you.
Yeah.
You better play the lottery or something that day.
Well, it missed my birthday by one day. The day before is the 25th. So.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's a good 48 hours.
Well, in Jewish tradition, let's see, your birthday on the 25th, sunset on the 25th will actually be the 26th.
Right.
In Jewish tradition, so.
Exactly.
I mean, you may not be Jewish, but you can still claim that, hey, it is my birthday. The 26th is my birthday.
There you are.
Did Sonar approach you, or did you approach them?
They approached the executive producers who had the rights and were trying to develop. They actually were trying to develop a movie, and they had gone to certain agencies around Hollywood, and they've been doing that for a number of years. And I guess the proposal portfolio, it reached a critical mass that it was in enough offices and being passed around that it got the attention of Sonar Entertainment, and they came back to after David's and Canton. Neil Canton actually was executive producer on the Back to the Future movies, and after they had their meetings and were pitching a movie, and that was all done, about a month later, Sonar called them and said, hey, come back, we want to do TV. And so they said, okay, great.
So is this something you were 19 books ago? How long ago was that?
First one came out in +99, and I've just been, going at it since then. So
I'm guessing at first it was just a matter of, oh gosh, I hope I sell a few books. But did it ever get to the point where you say, gosh, I hope somebody one day makes a movie out of this, or something? Were you wanting to transfer over to the other medium, the visual mediums?
Well, I guess you don't not want it to transfer, but yeah, I was. It's like you said. I mean, my first thing was, I was writing my first book, and I was like, I hope this gets published, but it probably won't. But just so have fun writing it, and maybe I'll win the lottery and it'll get published, and then it got, and then not only got published, but they wanted more, and I'm like, you're kidding, because I was just tickled that when they said yes, my eyes just bugged out. Like, I'm going to be able to hold a book in my hand, and maybe they'll give me enough money to make a couple car payments, and I'll just put this book on the shelf and be proud of it. And then I ended up, they wanted enough that I had to leave the Tampa Tribune where I was working, and start writing full time.
You worked for the Tribune, really?
Nice.
Do you know Nick Puglisi by chance?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know a whole bunch of people over there. I was there almost 12 years.
Oh, really? Nick was my neighbor in Rainbow Lakes Estates when we were kids, basically. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
Small world.
especially in Florida.
Yeah.
When you do the editing process and things on your book, do you share it with family and friends, or do you prefer to keep everything close to the vest and just do it professionally?
The way I do it is I don't say a peep of anything, and then when I'm totally finished, I give it to my wife, and she reads it, first and alone, and that way she gets the same effect as a reader would get it, buying it at the store and taking it home. Yeah, because if you see it in process, like if you see a comedian trying to write a joke, then you don't get the effect of the joke, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I've often thought it was a double-edged sword when you go to the writers' groups. I see the value in them, but I also see problems with them because somebody else's idea of what you should be doing may not be what you should be doing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of ways to approach this. This just happens to be mine, but I've been on writers' panels where they talk about, for example, outlining versus not outlining. And, it may not look like it if you read my books. They're fairly tangential, but I do outline, and then, I digress from that as needed.
At this point, your method of operation for doing the writing is obviously working for you, so I wouldn't change anything. I think once you've found what works for you, it doesn't matter what works for other people because what you have works for you.
Yeah, because you're a New York Times bestselling author, and that's to be commended.
Oh,
You're a
I
rock
appreciate
star
it.
of the literary world.
Maybe more like Boxcar Willie, but
well, you are fun. I sure hope when you come to Ocala, you do. We're able to hook up and get you in the studio here and talk. It'll be probably the same length interview, so you'll be coming all this way to be on the air. But we'd like to help promote what you're doing, and I love the fact. Robin and I have supported a couple of local authors groups and local compilation books. Where it'd be like 20 authors all from Florida or all from Central Florida that all put together one story a piece or something like that. Mm-hmm. Short story, yeah.
It's
Tim, thank you for being on the air with us today. But let's make sure the listeners can get the book. How do we get the? Well, it comes out the 26th. Do we get it on the normal booksellers?
Yeah, it everywhere because I have it's HarperCollins as the publisher, and so it's available in all bookstores and online. On Amazon, and I have a website, timdorsey.com, that has information about all the books and the tour schedule and everything.
timdorsey.com. I'm going to your website right now.
And we do have a list of all of your tour dates and the cities that you will be in and the time. So if any of the listeners are interested in there, I can give you a copy of this list because it's everything's drivable. Tampa, Daytona Beach, D-Land, Mount Dora, everything's a nice day trip.
I was going to bet, Robin, that you had a beard, but you don't have a beard.
No, I don't.
I don't know why I thought you would have had a beard. I'm looking at you right now. You're sitting on an old dock somewhere. Where's that?
Oh, that was where I was living when I wrote Florida Roadkill. That's down in Ruskin. That's on the southern shore of Tampa Bay, in the mangrove flats.
Oh, yeah.
Down there.
All right.
Yeah, that's a nice town.
Well, what a great interview. Thank you so much. I really didn't know what to expect when I saw the prep material, but I've really enjoyed the interview. Looking forward to reading everything. I haven't read one of them yet, so I'm looking forward to that. And then the TV series when this all starts to happen. So what's the expected date for this to be on the air? Do we know yet, or is it still too?
I don't know. When I first heard about this, I started scouring and tracking other projects and going on IMDb, and I will know a lot more within six to 8 months. A lot will gel as far as. Because I was asking the same thing with the executive producers, and basically they said it all depends on how much rewrites and how many times, because they have meetings over the pilot in the first few episodes. And
Oh, really? How cool will it be if they allow you to be in the show? Like maybe just a cameo or something. I don't know.
You could be a golfer.
I demanded that. That's the one thing. I just said, hey, I just want to be sitting on a park bench when action goes by.
Cool.
Tim, thank you so much. Good luck with everything you do, and congratulations on everything you've done. And what a wonderful interview. When you're in Ocala, let us know. Even if you don't get by the studio, we'll be glad to promote your appearance here if you're at the library or a bookstore or something.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Great interview. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu.
How to get some rock salt?
If it clears off the snow, it's clearing out of stores quickly as a lot of East Coast shoppers brace for a storm.
My stepfather called and said, Heather, you need to stop by and get a shovel.
She's in Pennsylvania, where forecasters predict up to a foot of snow could hit Philadelphia's northern suburbs. People across the Northeast, South, and Mid-Atlantic states urged to be careful.
Ice is another concern, especially across the Carolinas. That's where we could be seeing up to an inch of ice accumulation. We're also looking at ice possible across Kentucky and into parts of Arkansas, so dangerous traveling conditions are going to be a big concern.
Fox meteorologist Maria Molina. The Secretary of State says it is likely that